Hello, hi, and welcome to Empathic Fire. I am your reader, Jay. These are general messages for Sagittarius in the month of December 2018. What's up, Sag? How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well. Right off the bat, guys, happy birthday! For those of you that are celebrating in the month of December, I did do your birthday reading at the tail end of November, so if you didn't check that out already, go back and check that out. Might be a message in there that is also beneficial to you if you don't find something here today with your general messages for the month. Whoa, 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 spillage. Lots of spillage. There we go. All right. Also, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. If you celebrate any of those holidays, I hope you have a wonderful one. If you don't celebrate anything and you're just kind of a Grinch, I can roll with that energy too. Have a happy Grinchmas if that's kind of what you're doing this year. But whatever you're doing, I hope you're having fun, and I hope you're around people that you love and that who care and love for you as well, okay? Let's see. Yep, shuffled off camera, so that's your main spread there, Sagittarius. What I'm going to do now is shuffle for your outcome and your overall energy. Once all cards are out and they're lying face up, that is when the reading begins. You can look in the description box for the timestamp if you want to jump ahead. Also down there, you're going to find information on how to get a personal reading with me if you feel so inclined, okay? All right, Sagittarius, outcome, December 2018. Let's get it. Whoa, there we go. Bottom of the swords, bottom of the deck is going to be your overall energy. Interesting. Oh, what's going on? What's going on? Alright, how's that look? Oh, it looks pretty. Looks pretty even though this one is just a little bit off. There we go. Alright, Sagittarius, let's get into it. Where's Sagittarius in December 2018? Please show me Sagittarius in December 2018. Please show me. Here? Okay, thank you. Alright, Sag, coming into December, you come in as the Queen of Pentacles. Interesting. Queen of Pentacles, Earth energy here, could indicate for you an Earth sign of particular significance, a Taurus, Virgo, or a Capricorn, but it doesn't have to be. It's just more about the energy of the card and the qualities of the Earth signs cumulatively. And for you right now, Sag, I feel like, you know, there's a focus on your domestic situation. I mean, this deck in itself, the Housewives Tarot deck, is kind of heavily domestic themed. But, you know, with the Queen of Pentacles here, I think it's like an affirmation, a deeper affirmation of that, because the Queen of Pentacles, like I said, assigned with or aligned with Earth sign energy and qualities. Earth signs and the earth element, or pentacles, if you want to stick with the interpretation of tarot, since that's what we're doing here, right? So pentacles deal with your home life, deal with your finances, deal with your physical surroundings, you know, the actual house that you occupy, the city you live in, the quality of your living, or your standard of living. So if you live in a one-bedroom apartment with 5 cats, that is definitely not, why am I saying definitely? That is your home situation, and that would be something that the Queen of Pentacles oversees. Also, your work situation, how you find stability, how you find, what do you call that? Why can't I think? Stability. What is the word? Provisions. Yeah, thank you. Which is strange. I don't know why they would put provisions there, but basically how you support yourself. Thank you. And the Queen of Pentacles, she oversees all of that. And the thing about this particular deck, it shows that the Queen of Pentacles is kind of, it looks like she's on her way out the door to maybe go to a job, go to a business meeting, go to, you know, some type of social function, whatever. So she's actually not staying in the home and overseeing things. She's actually on the go. So for some of you Sagittariuses, you might be kind of balancing that or finding some kind of wiggle room with that, overseeing your domestic situation, your domicile, the actual place where you call home, and making sure that things are running smoothly there. And you're also potentially having to do the same thing or carry that same energy over into your work situation. So you're basically wearing two hats, but functioning very similarly within two different spaces. If it's not that you're going between two places and you're having to wear multiple hats and perform double duty as, you know, the queen of all you survey, and being not a supportive energy, but definitely like I said, I think provisions. So if you're not on that quest, so to speak, I feel like some of you might be, I don't want to use that word. Negotiating. Thank you. Some of you might be negotiating something in your home life with a partner, with a roommate, with, you know, a landlord or something like that. And you're like kind of putting on your big girl pants or your big boy pants, and you're kind of showing up to present yourself as a viable candidate for something, or a viable partner for something, or your perspective or what you want is a viable, logical, practical choice. Like I said, I think that this Queen of Pentacles right now, she is going about her business, but it still pertains back to the home. So if this is not necessarily about you wearing the two hats and performing two roles or anything like that, it would be about you saying to your partner, you saying to your roommates, listen, I want to buy this for the house, or I think we should take on this project, you know, build an extension onto the house, or you're saying to your parents, I'm moving out, or you're saying to your parents, I'm moving back in. There's just this idea of you have your own agenda, so to speak, and you're bringing it to other people. Like, you see, she's kind of patting the head of what we can assume is the father figure in this family dynamic, right? And she's kind of, unfortunately, I feel she's kind of patronizing him. She's kind of being a little condescending to him. And not to say like that is exactly your approach, Sagittarius, but you definitely are, like I said, you're putting on your big girl pants or your big boy pants, and you're saying, listen, my idea is great, or what I think we should do next is amazing, and here's what we're going to do. Like, you're putting together a game plan and you're ready to execute. And that's definitely aligned to Earth energy, to Pentacles energy, because that is the way they roll. That is the way that energy flows, or the way that, well, not energy flows, but I suppose it grows. It takes time to cultivate. So you've negotiated, you've gone and you've drafted up ideas. I'm not saying like you're literally, you know, making a PowerPoint presentation and presenting it to your husband. Here are the reasons why we should move to a bigger house. And, you know, you go to slide 1, 2, 3. You know, I'm not saying that you're doing it in such a big preparation, but your reasoning is very logical. Your reasoning is very practical. You're very pragmatic with it. You can sort of, and I'm feeling for you, Sagittarius, this is kind of like an upswing for you, or like a different, it's a little different than how things have been for you recently. I feel in this energy, you're a lot more focused. You're a lot more laser-eyed, or you have laser-like focus. Thank you. And whatever your goal is, and again, it's like giving me feelings about the house, or about issues surrounding the house. So again, money, perhaps, you know, paying off certain bills, or refinancing a mortgage, things like this. Like I said, building additions onto the house, remodeling certain parts of the house, whatever it is, moving in, moving out. Yes, thank you. And also the Queen of Pentacles and Pentacles in general can talk about your physical appearance and your physical body. Again, it's things that you possess. It's things that you call home, like beyond your house, beyond your car, or beyond anything that you would physically possess or own through means of exchange. You possess your body, right? You possess your physical self. So this could be that some of you Sagittariuses, you're getting a game plan in to address something physical about your body, or in this case, like I'm seeing here, some of these this Queen of Pentacles looks like she might be kind of doling out lessons to the family. And again, the size of the Queen versus the size of the people that are standing on that little chair there, it's like, this is like a whole new side of you, or this is like an explosion out of you, this interest, this laser-like focus, Sagittarius. You're just like sort of coming out of left field, because, you know, Sagittarius, you can be laser focused, you can obviously be very accomplished, you're one of the most accomplished signs in the Zodiac, and you have capabilities running through you like all the time. You would struggle, I think, Sagittarius, one of your biggest struggles in your life, for many of you, not all, but for many of you, is determination and potential. Like determination. If you really want something, you'll do it. But finding something that you really want to do, or that you really care about, and want to devote that much time and energy towards, that's the hiccup there. And then the follow through, or excuse me, not the follow through, but the potential is that, again, Sagittarius, you're like a jack of all trades, but a master of none. You have a lot of interest, you have a lot of capabilities, but you never, not most of you, but it's very usual for you to be very good at multiple things, but again, not like super excel at that one thing. You will probably get it in your lifetime. Many of you do get it in your lifetime, or get a few things that you absolutely excel in. But if you're young, or in some ways less experienced, or in other ways you might have issues with your confidence, you might have issues with self-belief, or conditioning and things like that. So all these other factors can, quote unquote, hold you back. In this energy, I feel like something has flipped over, where I think you're feeling more confident, more determined, like I said before, more focused. You're feeling definitely like something is tangible, something is achievable. And I don't think you're going to be easily deterred. I think because a lot of you have done your research. If this is about moving houses, I've researched the housing market. I know how much money we have saved. I know what we can afford if we move to Dallas. Boom. And so you present your argument to your husband, to your wife, to your partner, whoever, roommates. I don't know what your situation is. And you're like, listen, if we move to Dallas, XYZ can happen, or XYZ will be available to us, or we can always start in on whatever dream we have if we go to Dallas, or wherever the hell it is, right? And so you've researched, you've done your homework, you've done due diligence to make it so basically nobody can say no to you. I mean, they still can say no. It's a free, we live in an existence that has free will. So they can say no, but you're going to make such a sound argument. It's going to be so clever. It's going to be, the Queen of Pentacles is passionate, but she's very grounded with her passion. Like the Queen of Wands would be very like boisterous. She would be like very animated, and she would have like jokes, and she would be very clever. The Queen of Pentacles would be passionate, and she would just be straightforward with the message. I want this. This is why. Here's how it benefits us. And it's not going to sound as like blasé as my voice just kind of did. It will sound convincing. It will sound contrite. It will sound very sentimental. Okay? So again, that's something that I think you haven't really been aligned with recently. I think that you've kind of been in the background. Maybe before this time period, that's when you were doing the homework, and you were doing the research, and you were figuring out the figures, and putting all the math together, and plotting the course forward. So now the time has come for you to take everything that you've studied about, everything that you've researched, and you're going to start putting it into action. Slowly but surely, of course, because the Pentacles, and you have 3 placements of Pentacles, but Pentacles tend to be a slower energy, a plotting, like I said, a plotting and applauding energy. And that's fine. You know, I think I mentioned to you maybe November or September or sometime earlier in the year, Your energy has been very wavy from what I remember, Sagittarius. It's on and up, it's off, it's on, it's off, it's on, it's off. And I think it's because your tendency, Sag, is to, once you're on, you just want to go until it's finished. And the starting and stopping of your energy, the on and off that you were dealing with through a good portion of 2018, from what I can remember, I think was like really disconcerting to you. I think it was really jarring to you. It was like foreign to you to have to stop so many times, or pause, or reflect, or go back to the drawing board and rework a plan or rework an idea. Like, that is frustrating to you. And I feel that this slower approach, this slow burn, or this incremental building is actually going to be beneficial for you. Like, that's just what I feel. Energetically, it feels like if you pull in the reins enough and you don't fly off the handle because you become impatient, or because you become bored, or someone initially says no and you have to go back and think of another approach, or amend your argument in some type of way. If you can stay on track and stay focused with whatever the Queen of Pentacles is guiding you to, I think you're going to be good. And that's a lot to say for just the first position. But that feels strong to me. And for me personally, as a reader, the Queen of Pentacles isn't always super strong, but I feel she's very strong for you right now. And I can't use any other word, but that's how I feel. It's like firm, strong, just like, yeah, I like it. I like it for you. Now, all across the top, I think, is really explaining more of what we were just talking about, sort of giving background to basically what's going on. So you've got the Ten of Pentacles on one side and the Hierophant on the other. Ten of Pentacles basically talks about what I was just mentioning. It really, really talks about your focus on your physical surroundings, what you possess, what you own, what brings you stability, what counts as your family, or counts as your home life, counts as your legacy, counts as your in a more philosophical way, some of your idealisms or your philosophies are also kind of not being challenged, but being rewritten and being represented to others around you. So some of you might have an interest, if this is Ten of Pentacles, you might have an interest, since, again, Pentacles can talk about money, and to me, Ten of Pentacles can sometimes talk about finances and inheritances. So some of you might be deciding where to put your money. Some of you might be wanting to put your money in a trust. Some of you might be wanting to invest some of your money into a new startup. Or some of you are looking to donate money and become a little bit more philanthropic with your money. So you really have this interest in what is the long-lasting power and impact of the dollars that I spend, or I invest, or I save. Where can I put this money that makes a statement for me? And it's not a statement of, I'm Sagittarius and I approve this message kind of thing. It's not like you want to be attached to some particular image or message. You really just want your money and your finances and whatever you can physically give of yourself. If it's not money that you give, it could be time as far as volunteerism. But whatever you're doing, you want it to be aligned with what is your integrity, the character that you are out in the world. If you, for example, this is just an example, if you are very religious and you worship whatever god and you go to whatever weekly or daily religious ceremony, and you have a place in your church, in your temple, in your synagogue, in your house of worship, whatever it is, you want your actions and your money to reflect that. So you're going to invest your money in certain charities that are aligned with or show that they are principally aligned with your principles. It's very important to you what your money does and or what your action does and how it reflects back on you, your home, your family, all that kind of stuff. And that's not a typical thing, I think, for Sagittarius to care about. So that particular message, as far as it being about religion, as far as it being about being attached to certain charities with certain mission statements and things like that, that's for a few of you. Overall, I think it's really about, more so, I think for most of you, it's going to be more so about your family legacy. What are you leaving behind, or what are you going to be building up so that you can leave it behind to your children, or if you don't have children, your partner. If your partner is, there's a chance that they will leave this earth before you, then whoever else. There is just this, and if you don't have anyone close to you, if you're like flat, fun and fancy and free and all that kind of stuff, it would then still be this idea of, what am I building up for myself? What am I going to invest in today that 10 years, 15, 20 down the line is going to be a proper reflection of who I am, or what I'm worth, or what I'm capable of doing, or what I'm capable of achieving, okay? Also on this card, I've mentioned it before, and I'm getting for several of you, this is about a home situation. It's about moving in or moving out. It's about buying a home. It's about selling a home. But there's something about this transference of... Transference? It's about... like shifting your focus. Like, that's the transfer. I think your focus has been very internal for you, as of late, for you Sagittarius, and I think that focus, that laser-like focus, is turning outward. You're starting to look around you, and you're starting to evaluate your physical surroundings, the people that are around you, the places that you occupy, the places that you live, the money that you spend, the clothes that you wear, the food you eat, the car you drive. Everything is up for evaluation. And not in the sense of evaluation as in to get rid of. It's really about evaluation as into what is beneficial and what is not beneficial. And if something's not beneficial, can we somehow alter it or amend it or tweak it in such a way so that we can make it beneficial and therefore keep it. So that could very well be going into the attic, going into the basement, looking through all the boxes that you have from college, looking through all the boxes that you have from your previous home, and saying, okay, I have a lot of sentimental attachment to this teddy bear that my ex gave me in my freshman year of college, but do I really need it? No, throw it away. Then you go back and you look at certain papers for some of you, or certain books that you have, or whatever's in your basement, whatever's in your attic, whatever's in your garage, wherever. So it could just be that type of evaluation where you're literally going through the items that you possess and you're saying, do you add value to my life beyond sentimental value? Is there something that I can not necessarily gain monetarily, but could I give you to someone else, instead of like throwing you in the trash or giving you to Goodwill or some other charity or something like that? Could I maybe, again, give this item to my child in the future, And if you're pulling out a Texas Instrument calculator from like 2002, I'm going to say probably not. You might as well throw that thing away. So, and again, you can think about that in terms of money. Like I said, some of you want to set up a trust. Some of you want to set up certain accounts so that it builds and it builds and it builds. And then by the time it's time for you to retire or whatever is going to happen in death, I hate to be so morbid, but that's kind of the longevity that you're thinking with Sagittarius. And that is not foreign, by the way. That foresight, that long foresight, Sagittarius, you definitely are an explorer, you're a journeyer, you definitely would be, I think sometimes your sign is shown to be, well, I guess it's more rare than anything, but one of the symbols that I get when I think of a Sagittarius is like a pair of binoculars or a long scope, like I guess that, what do you call them? Surveyors, landscape surveyors used to use to do like, I guess, cartography and plotting geography and all that kind of stuff. That's how I see you. You would be that person standing up on a hillside, standing up on a mountain, looking out over, the land below and saying, okay, we've got a river to the east, we've got some desert over here, and then in the middle, we've got this, you know, whatever, and you're just like, you have that long range vision. And that's what's going on here between these two cards. You have a very big concern right now with what's going to happen in the long run to you, to your family, to your friends, to your money, to your home, whatever. And Sag, that energy is also very different, right? It's very different. You're not materialistic in any sense. So I think this is going to be a temporary thing for you. And I think it's going to be refreshing. Because a lot of times, Sag, you don't operate in the most practical, most tangible world. Like, a lot of times you can be very dreamlike. You know, reality for you is a construct. Reality for you is something that can be argued, is something that can be sort of debated, you know? There's a Sagittarius I know who literally, I'm not lying, wanted to argue with me about how 2 + 2 is 3. And I was just like, what are you talking about? And their argument was 2 + 2 is 3. And I was just like, but no. And they argued that that was the case. Now for me, in the way I see the world, 2 + 2 is 4, and that's the end of it. But for this person, it was about labeling, I believe. I believe their argument was, well, it's arbitrary. 2 + 2 can equal 3. If we agreed that 2 + 2 equaled 3, then we would all agree that that would be the new the new equation. 2 + 2 = 3. If we all agreed that symbolically that's what it meant. Like that's kind of a weird example, but that has been just one example of how Sagittarius, you guys can take it to a whole new level when it comes to understanding and conceptualizing what reality is, what society is, what it means, the value of money. We're talking a lot about money. We're talking a lot about possessions today. And again, this is so out of your, not comfort zone, but very different from your typical approach, to be so focused on the things that you value, the things that you possess, the things that, the numbers, the dollars and the cents that are in your bank account or whatever. That's very unlike you to focus on these things, but something is it's made you do this. Something has jump-started you into this mode. You're not going to stay here forever. So if you need this, if you have been struggling financially, if you've been struggling to find a place to live or having a stable place to live, use this energy, get aligned with it so that it can benefit you, okay? Now, I can't talk. To complete your top line, you have the Hierophant card of Taurus. So again, Pentacles cards up top, and you've got a Taurus there on the top row. So there might be a Taurus of significance, but again, it doesn't have to be. And this sort of is basically what I was just talking about. The Hierophant talks about rules, regulations, prescriptive elements in our lives, and bodies of power, bodies of influence, bodies of control. What do I mean by bodies? Government, religion, school, media, as you can see from the television. So bodies or corporations or an amalgamation of people or interests, different interests that adhere to or not adhere to, but sort of dish out what is to be expected of the masses. Media, government, religion, schools, etc. So I hope you can clearly see what the Hierophant is all about. And none of that is negative, because in my estimation, most societies need this, like especially societies of huge populations. If you're living in a society of a couple thousand, you probably don't need this type of energy that much, or you probably have it on a much smaller, less big brother type scale. But in most societies where I think most people are going to be watching this video, this energy is something that, like I just said, is being evaluated by you. You know, there's something about the impact and the importance of, or the weight of, these different elements in your life. The money, the house, the car, the clothes, the stuff in the attic, the stuff that's been in the garage for 18 years that needs to be sorted through so you can finally park your car in the garage, whatever you're doing. All of that stuff needs to be evaluated. And again, I feel like for you, Sagittarius, and this is definitely in your wheelhouse, you're not super sentimental right now. I mentioned it with the Queen of Pentacles, I think, or one of those. I mentioned it. And that's what I'm feeling. You're being very much about the business, about the bottom line, about what is the value of this object? What is the value of living in this house? What is the value of owning this car? Should I own a different car? Do I need a car at all? Maybe some of you are like, you know what? I live in a huge city. For some of you, I don't need this car. I might as well donate it or sell it or do whatever. And then maybe you'll buy a moped or a scooter, or you'll just buy a damn bike, or you're like, I'm just going to take public transportation. Whatever you're doing. There is just this reevaluation of the systems that are in play, the predictable, prescriptive systems that are in play in your life are up for review. Things have been done a certain way. You or someone else has had a certain set of expectations, and for a while that system worked, but now that system is kind of it's not broken. It's just not getting you where you want to be. It's not fulfilling you in the way that you want it to fulfill you. It's not sustaining you in the way that you want to be sustained. There's a lot about stability and sustenance and progress and having this firmness. Like, yeah, like for me, they're showing me like those, they're not cinder blocks, but they are made of concrete, I believe, and they're flat. They're long and they're flat. It's not a brick, but I guess you could use it like a brick. Okay, that I don't think this is what they're, well, whatever. You know how sometimes in like martial arts, people will punch through wood or punch through stone? It's those thin slabs of stone. And to me, what I'm seeing, what they're giving me is those stones in your arms like this being stacked on top of each other. And Sagittarius, number one, that is probably not a visual that you would like, but what's going on is each slab that is going to be stacked in your arms, is it valuable? Does it add to your life or does it detract from your life? If it detracts from your life, it has to go. It can't stay here. I can't continue to spend money this way. I can't continue to work a job that doesn't fulfill me in these ways, or doesn't have health insurance, for God's sakes, for some of you, something like that. And so now you're interested in going out and finding a job that has damn health insurance. You know, this is an American problem. You know, kudos to you if you live somewhere where health insurance is not an issue. But for those of us where it is an issue, it's a very real issue, and it's something that you're evaluating. And now that I'm on that, and this is going to be a strange tangent, but I think it's tied into this Hierophant energy. Let's see. Because we mentioned, yes, right? Good. Thank you. And Sag, I hate to do this because that's not a goal of mine at all with my channel, but here it is. So some of you are having this, we have to move, because of the political climate that's going on right now in the United States and elsewhere in the world, not just the United States. But some of you are living in a place where you're like, our ideals, like thank you, here we go. And I think I'm going to hit with a few of you. So for those where this doesn't apply, I apologize, but there has been this argument made that through social media and, you know, the friends that you know and the friends of friends and all that kind of stuff, many people, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, no matter what, you know, end of the spectrum you kind of lean towards politically, many people live in a bubble where the people that you talk to on a regular basis reflect back to you the beliefs that you already adhere to, that you already believe, that you already value. And so some of you Sagittariuses, and this would definitely be something that that would go right up your alley. Some of you are saying to your partner or saying to yourselves or saying to whoever, look, I need to go where my ideas are not immediately reflected back to me. I need to get out of this bubble. So some of you are moving away from city life and going into rural or suburban areas, because you want to make an impact, a legacy, an impact on the legacy, an impact on the legacy of the society at large, the society that you are a citizen of, that you are a part of, and you want to see some type of progressive change, no matter what you deem as progressive or whatever you believe is the change that is necessary. I'm not going to insert any type of schisms here. But yeah, that's what I feel. For some of you, this is like, I've lived in this bubble my entire life. I need to get out, and I need to reach and make community with, or somehow bridge a gap with, or somehow interact with people and places that I'm not familiar with, in order to, one, better understand what the hell I'm doing here on this earth, and two, to change the political climate of my country, or of my city, of my state, of my district, whatever you're trying to do. Some of you are really evaluating that. And if it's not actually moving into a new district so that, you can influence, the way that certain maps are delegated or segmented off, it would then be, again, some of you might be volunteering, or some of you might be going to give talks, or going to work with certain charities that basically spread a message with the hierophant in media. Not that they are media, but that media is an element of influence, and media reaches several people, or many people at one time, through one set means, right? And so some of you are working alongside charities or organizations that have an interest in going out and influencing others, which again is kind of up your alley. Like, you definitely might not, you definitely would want to see what it's all about. You might not stay with such an approach, because, I think you'd be a little skeptical of it, Sagittarius. You'd be like, okay, like at some point you'd be like, okay, this is too much. Or, do we have to like send an email like every day to these people? Like, come on, let's relax. But again, there's this evaluation of what has been the standard, and you're like, the standard isn't working. The standard isn't panning out the way I want it to be. I have to go back, or I have to leave here, or I have to reevaluate this. I have to get this out of my life and put this into my life, and all that kind of stuff is going on, okay? Now, what's going on in the bottom row here? Yes, okay, thank you. That's fun. All right, so remember at the very, very beginning, well, not the very beginning, but towards the beginning, when I was talking to you about the Queen of Pentacles, and how I feel that your approach will be firm, but I also feel that your approach will be malleable, even though you don't necessarily want it to be. I think you will be able to change it up a bit, is because I think you've got this Knight of Cups right beneath you. The Knight of Cups is a schmoozer. He's a little charmer. He's a little charismatic so-and-so, a young person. It doesn't have to be a guy, by the way. There's no gender in tarot, right? So whoever this person is, and I feel it's mostly you, Sagittarius. It could be someone else that you're dealing with. This could be the person that you're negotiating with, and they're trying to schmooze you. They're trying to, get one over on you, or they're trying to smooth talk you. That could be what's going on. But I feel this is mostly going to be what you utilize to kind of, like Trojan horse style, get this very assured, very stern, very firm argument or position of the Queen of Pentacles through the door, is through the Knight of Cups. So this again could be for some of you going out and getting a job that has that damn health insurance that you need so badly. And so you might not have all of the experience that the call sheet, sure, the job description or the ad called for, but you're going to go to the interview and you're going to talk that stuff. It's not lying, but it certainly is creatively spinning your work experience into something that is useful or can be utilized by this new company that you want to work for. Will you be successful? I don't know. I can't tell you that. But your intention is very, very, very like velvet glove, Like it's kind of what some people might say is cheesy or I think it's an approach that I think a lot of people might not expect from you, to be so for lack of a better word, you might be a little cute with your approach or your argument. Ooh, some of you might be like making promises. Knight of Cups can make promises that maybe he can't fulfill. So some of you might be doing that. Some of you, in order to get your way, you might be, promising somebody the moon and the stars, or promising someone an exorbitant amount of money, or, commitment from you. So in that way, it might be a little shady, and I would not advise you not to do it. It's just like, well, if it comes back to you, don't be surprised. But the Knight of Cups, he can do that. He can spin a tale. He can make himself seem more than what he actually is. Like, I mean, look at this kid. Like, he's not 21. He could be, I guess, in 1950, whatever. He could have been 21 years old. I feel like people from the 50s, they could have been, like, super, like, in their 20s, but they look like they're 16. It was weird. Or am I wrong? Am I crazy? Whatever. So, this person on this card, again, this guy here, he looks younger than the pouring of the champagne. Well, actually, I guess at that time you had to be 18 to drink alcohol, right? Whatever. Don't get so literal, Jay. Wake up. This is not about a literal interpretation. Sometimes I know too much stuff for my own sake, and I get distracted. Anyway, so that's what I mean. This whole romantic look, this whole romantic scene of, let me pour you a drink, my dear, and yes, continue to smell that rose, or that rose that I gave you. It's just like, a teenager did that? A young man in his 20s did that? Really? And I mean, yes, there are people who date like that, and they're earnest and they're honest and they really, really mean what they say. But on the whole, if someone approached you like that, not just in a romantic situation, but in any situation, I think a lot of red flags for people would go up. Like, you have an ulterior motive. What do you want here? Why are you buttering me up like this? And so some people might sniff that out of you. Ooh, my back a little bit there. Let me tell you something, people. Be careful when you lift weights. Anyway, so for some of you Sagittarius, someone might be, kind of suspicious of the way you're approaching them, or the words that you're using, or the amount of money you're throwing their way, the amount of time and effort you're throwing towards them. Or they just might be skeptical of your entire idea and your entire pitch, regardless of your word choice. You know what I mean? So some people might be a little cautious of this energy. And I think that they're quote unquote right to be, because it just hasn't been the way you've behaved recently. You are definitely capable regularly. I don't know what 2018 has been for you, Sagittarius. Like I said before, it's been this on, off again stuff with you. But I know, Sagittarius, you guys are great arguers. You guys are very persuasive. And it's usually not like, it's usually very covert. It's usually like, oh my God, I'm standing here in my underwear. Like, you basically could talk someone out of their clothes in a non-sexual way. You could convince someone, I need the clothes that you're wearing right now. So you have that salesmanship, so to speak, naturally. I just think it just hasn't been around for a while, so people are going to be like a little bit more alert to it. They're going to be a little bit more like, oh, is Sagittarius talking business? Is Sagittarius talking serious? Talking shop? Like, you've been so foolhardy, you've been so relaxed, you've been so, cutting up and all that kind of stuff. And then, a week later you come into, you go and you have a house meeting with your roommates, or you meet with your husband or your wife, and you're like, listen, and you lay out all the things, you printed out sheets, you've looked up websites, and you're just like, listen, I have this thing I want to do, we should do it. And they're like, but last week you were doing keg stands. What are you talking about? Who are you? You know? So that might be the slight disconnect that's happening for some of you. Yep. This has been such a straightforward reading. This is interesting. So under your Ten of Pentacles, you've got that Ace of Pentacles. And this is basically showing that what we talked about here, legacy, continuing on in future generations, cultivating your foundations, giving yourself, excuse me, building up your nest egg if you want retirement or things like that. Potential, 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 right? Or your focus on the potentials. And here's the potential in the root of it. This to me is a pure, pure. We'll say pure. This to me is like a pure meeting right here. This 10 to the 1. If you think about how these cards increment, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? You've got the 10 coming up. And then underneath, like I'm seeing it like flip down or root back down, like in a cycle. Underneath it, the root of it, is an ace. So you're doing what you're supposed to do. Focusing on your future, thinking about your legacy, thinking about how things are going to pan out in the future, what's coming 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, etc., etc. That's very wise. It's very wise. What you need to do in order to kind of keep that energy going and see that intention kind of flourishes is to plant the seeds now. Aces are usually seedlings. They're potentials. They're chances. They're not guaranteed. They're just chances. And being that it's in your bottom row, this reading today, I'm feeling your bottom row is very much the root of the situation. What's going on underneath, what's going on behind the scenes, what is influencing what happens in the top. And basically, the Ace of Pentacles is telling you, you have this chance, this seedling. If you don't have a 401k, you've been working a job for a year or two, you better start a 401k tomorrow. The next day that you're at work, the next day you're able to get down to HR, the next day you're able to access the little, employee web portal so that you can go on and find out what a 401k looks like in your department, in your company. Do it. If you have a lot of money and it's just in savings, it's like earning a little bit, but you don't know much about investments, you don't know much about how to, put your money to use in terms of the markets or putting money in market shares and things like that, research it, do it, get a financial advisor. If you, like I said, if you want to have a trust, if you want to set up a trust, research it, do it. This is like thinking about it, plotting about it, dreaming about it in some cases, and like I said earlier, evaluating what you have already. And then you find out, okay, I've got some seeds here. I've got an extra grand that I could, start to invest with. Now, who has an extra grand? I'm very jealous of you. But, that's literally what this card is saying. I have this much right now. Where can I put it right now? Whatever you have, Sagittarius, whatever you need, Sagittarius, get into it. Get into it. Like I said, if you want that health insurance, research it. If you get the job and whatever the first day is that you're able to sign up for those benefits, sign up that day. Do not delay. Wow, don't I sound like a salesman now? Sign up today. Don't delay. But that's kind of what this ace is telling you. It's like, and it's like got this rubber glove, this rubber dish glove that you use when you wash dishes, right? So it's industrious. It's showing that you have to actually do something physically in this world. You have to go through steps. You have to go somewhere physically with your body. You have to move your money from one type of account into another type of account. You can't just think about it. You can't just print off pages. You can't just bookmark websites. You have to then get up and do something about it. So be active. Be active, but be sensible, of course. Again, the Pentacles is very slow. And I think that suits you. Like I said earlier, that suits you right now. I don't think you want to fly off at the speed of light like you can do, okay? I think you do want to slow down. And if you don't, I would advise that you consider doing that, okay? Underneath the Hierophant, you've got the Judgment card. everything is so anchored today. So Judgment, underneath the Hierophant card, like I was saying before, Hierophant is talking about systems at play, systems of power and influence, government, religion, school, etc., right? Judgment coming underneath it, I think, is echoing back to that whole thing we were talking about in terms of reevaluation. The Judgment card, as is kind of there, is looking at things with a fine-tooth comb, putting things underneath the magnifying glass and really, doing your homework and looking at the results of what you're studying, looking at the results of what you're considering, or looking at the potential results in this case, because I don't think anything's being determined for you in the month of December. I don't think anything's going to be determined for you. I think most things for many of you are going to continue to be pending. They're not going to pan out, by December 31st. I think we're going to have to wait a little bit. Others of you, it's very obvious that this is like an issue. And I think I mentioned it. And so I think I'm going to have to come back to it because this is here. And then I mentioned it, I think, up top. Physical body. Again, your home is not just where you live and you lay down and you go to sleep. Your home is also your physical body. The thing that you live in from the day you're born till the day you die. And some of you are having to evaluate your physical body. So that means maybe going to a doctor and having a physical. Maybe you haven't had one in a few years. Maybe you haven't had one ever in your life. And for others of you, it will be, those milestone things. So that's going to be the prostate checks. That's going to be the mammograms. That's going to be going to the OBGYN for the pap smear and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be seeing the specialist that your doctor told you to go see 5 months ago, but you didn't go. It's going to be getting on certain medications. It's going to be getting off of certain medications. It's going to be reevaluating your fitness plan. Are you active at all? No? Then start walking. Start walking longer from your car to your building before you punch in for work. Start taking the stairs instead of taking the elevator. It's going to be a lot of things to your physical body, and the way that you treat your physical body needs to be reevaluated, needs to be taken into consideration, okay? So some of you are going to be like this woman who happens to be a piece of meat. You're going to be looking down at that scale going, OMG, this is serious, and we got to do something about it. So for many of you, a lot of what I just said is going to apply to how am I going to take care of my physical body. And sometimes that's the starting point. Sometimes that's the seed that you need to plant. If I take care of my physical self, number one, endorphins, all those positive motions on the scale, as the number goes down, your mood elevates. If you go and you work out, you get all those positive reinforcements from, I can't think of it. I just said endorphins, but they're called something. What are they called? I can't remember at this point. But I hope you know what I'm saying, where changing your diet, being more active, all of those things, from what you ingest to what you do with your body, if you run, if you lift weights, if you do kickboxing, if you meditate, whatever you do, yoga, all that kind of stuff, what you choose will affect your mood. And once your mood is affected, you then will feel more positive and more agreeable to continue on with your physical routines. Does that make sense? So it becomes like this positive cycle of, if I do the good thing, my mood increases, and then if my mood increases, then I am more willing to do the physical activity, which can be strenuous, which can be arduous, which can be miserable. I've seen many people do some hard workouts in the gym, and I'm like, this is good for you? You're screaming a lot. Why are you doing that? But that's just me. So some of you are going to be evaluating your physical body as well as your monetary life or your financial life, as well as your work life, and as well as your home life. Many of you can be doing just one of those things, but I feel like in general, this is a very encompassing energy where you're doing at least two of those things. So maybe it's the job and your physical body. Maybe it's the home life and your money. Maybe it's the home life and your physical body. Whatever combination works for you, that's what's going on. What's in your outcome? You've got the 10 of Swords. So, a lot of positive stuff here. I feel a lot of progression here. I feel a lot of focus here. Here, I think we're seeing that those old habits are dying hard, or however that phrase, old habits are hard to break. Yeah, that's that one, that cliche phrasing. I'm like, what? Old habits die hard? What is this, like a Bruce Willis, sequel? Anyway, old habits, is that a saying? Old habits die hard? Is that a saying? I don't know. Whatever. What I'm feeling here is this is like what you might be, this is how you might be reacting. I think for many of you, you're so focused, and this is where I think what I mentioned earlier about, it wasn't follow through. What was I saying earlier? Not follow through, but patience. Thank you. Patience. I think this is what's happening. We're seeing your impatience flare up a little bit, Sagittarius. And I think you're going to feel stuck. I think you're going to feel a little annoyed or frustrated, or you're going to feel as though I'm making my part of the deal happen. What about this person over here? What about this? What about that? So there's this feeling of disappointment. There's this feeling of, like I said, frustration, of feeling as if you've made 2 steps forward, but then you take 5 steps back, something like that. And it's just like, I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think this would flare up for you. This would present itself again because you feel it should start to work out for you, or it should start to pan out the way you've planned. You've done all this planning here with the Pentacles. You've schmoozed with the Knight of Cups, and you're knowing what you're trying to affect. You're knowing the areas that you're trying to make influence on, or what you're aligning your energies with, so that the influence works for you positively. And you're making the self-evaluations, and you're making the judgment on yourself, and you're changing certain behaviors. You're like, I've done all the work. Where's the result? So you might be a little impatient about seeing the results, especially if we're talking about what this card was, what we were discussing at the end of the Judgment card, the physical transformation. Some of you want to gain weight, get bulky, beef up a little bit. Some of you need to lose weight, or you want to lose weight. Not that you need to, but you want to lose weight. And you're like, man, you look at the scale and you're like, you kick the scale. You're like, come on. Like, I worked my butt off at the gym. This number's not going down. You might be really deterred and really upset when certain things need to, in your mind, Sagittarius, show progress, and they aren't showing progress. And here's the thing. I don't think they're showing progress in the way that you think it should. So if you busted your hump, let's say, and New Year's is coming up at the end of the month, right? So you've got your New Year's resolution. So January 1st, you hit the gym. Boom, boom, boom. And the first week, you hit the gym 3 or 4 times in that first week. And then you go and you weigh yourself, and you're down 1.5 pounds. And you're like, that's it? That's it? Now, let me tell you, I'm no expert, but 1.5 pounds in a week is good. It's good. Especially if you're coming from not ever working out before, not really ever dieting before, or changing the way you eat, changing your eating habits, changing your choices in your diet and things like that. If that's your first week, cut yourself some slack. Relax. Don't throw in the towel because you don't see those results instantly, right? If you want to move and you found the house that you wanted, but then someone else gets in there and the house it is pulled off the market, don't be deterred. There will be other homes within your price range. If the charity that you work with, whatever you've been planning and plotting for, and it doesn't go exactly your way initially, don't be deterred. Keep pushing through. I think that you're going to take that setback or that lack of what you view as progress to be a complete washout, to be a complete failure. And it's not. It's not, okay? Be cautious. It's not a full failure. Maybe a temporary setback, maybe a blip in the screen, no big deal. Ride it out. And here she is. I didn't even notice, but there she is. Oh, look, and you got the chariot behind. You have a determined reading. It's very determined. This is the only thing here. This Ten of Swords is outnumbered. All this stuff over here, even, you know, kind of cheesy Mr. Knight of Cups, all of this stuff is helping you. Forget the Ten of Swords. Whatever I just said about it, don't forget it. But, like, don't let it scare you, okay? Now, overall energy, you've got the Queen of Wands. Determined energy. She's very much focused. Much like the Queen of Pentacles. All the queens, in my estimation, are focused. But these two showing up for you in partnership right now, oh my God, so much focus. So much focus, right? And Wands, that's your fire energy. That's you. That's your element, right? So you've got this practical, very grounded, very solid, very stable energy. Very, you know, ride the wave, plot the course, Queen of Pentacles energy. And then you have this very dynamic, very creative, kind of wily, kind of spunky, what's the word? Animated and very jiving. Oh God, who are you? My guides are like from the 30s or something. Anyway, she's very energetic. She's like a thrust of energy into, or in partnership with, that slow, steady, paced out Queen of Pentacles. They might be at odds sometimes, so be careful with the mixing and the measuring of the energy. Like absolutely think of it like a chemistry set. You don't want to do too much of either, because the thing will explode in your face, and then you'll, you know, ruin your experiment. But what I'm seeing is there has to be enough of the Queen of Pentacles and like a touch, a sprinkle, a dash of the Queen of Wands, because she's regularly within you anyway as a fire sign, Sagittarius. So you don't want her to overpower, thank you. You don't want her to overpower the Queen of Pentacles energy. You want the Queen of Wands to be there in sort of a role reversal. You want her to be the supportive energy behind the Queen of Pentacles. You know, the Queen of Pentacles, Pentacles in general, are about support and, you know, sort of supplementing and filling in the gaps where, you know, the Wands and Swords, and sometimes even Cups, but mostly Wands and Swords, take huge leaps and bounds, and they go off on, and they bounce off the walls, and it's high energy, and it's very fast, it's very quick. And the Pentacles would be here to bring all that down to earth and put it in the ground and be like, okay, that's a great idea. Let's plant that seed and watch it grow. Let's not let the moment escape us. Let's utilize and seize the day, basically. But actually seize the day. Don't just like talk about it, be about it, okay? So the Queen of Wands, I think, is going to be, I think she's going to be here to kind of fill in those moments where your mind gets in this Ten of Swords trap and starts thinking, oh no, this isn't going the way I want it to go. She's going to be here to, you know, kick you up your backside and remind you, hey, we've only been trying this thing for like 2 weeks. Let's keep it going. It's only 2 weeks. That's not a fair amount of time to really judge whether this thing is working for us or not. She's going to remind you that, okay, that one house that we really wanted to move into, it's not on the market. That's cool. That's cool. There was the other neighborhood across town that we were looking at, which isn't so bad, and it has a decent school district and blah, blah, blah. She's here to remind you of all the small details that you'll let fizzle away the moment a touch of disappointment comes across your station, so to speak. So, yeah. Beautiful reading, I think, Sagittarius. Very beautiful. I love it. This is great for you. You need this, okay? So that's your reading for December. I hope something resonated for you here today. If it did, like button is down below. Also down there is the description box, or excuse me, the comments section. If you want to leave a comment for me, I would love to read about how this resonated with you. Please give me that feedback. I love it. I eat it up. Also, you can hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. That would also be amazing. Super, super, super amazing. And feel free to share the video as well if there are others that you think would benefit from the message. Or, you know, you just want people to know what a cool lady I am. That'd be cool, too. Cool. And I will be back, if I'm smart, next week when I present your January 2019 general readings, okay? I thank you guys so much for watching up until this point. Take care. Bye.